pharmacist did help your troubles away. Maybe learn another way. Hanging with Loretta. Now it's time for some fun. Get some inspiration. Don't you stop until you won. Hanging with Loretta. It's your life.
All right, I can't get enough of that song. Welcome to Loretta MCNary's show. My guest today is a dear friend, a supporter. He is just an amazing guy. He's done so much, not only for the city of Memphis when it comes to COVID vaccinations and mobile doctor's office. He was like the trailblazer for that. Everybody welcome for like the second or third time, Dr. Ted Lyons with Shot RX. Hi, Dr. Ted.
Hey, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. So you're a graduate of the University of Tennessee College of Pharmacy, and you've been a champion of pharmacists and immunizations for many, many years. And you are a specialist when it comes to that. And you served as the clinical coordinator for a large pharmaceutical company. So you have the receipts, honey. You are the deal. And I'm just so excited that you joined us today. So what we're going to do, everybody, we're going to talk about breast cancer awareness. We have a story to share with you for inspiration. We're going to talk about COVID boosters. And you know, it is flu season. So we're going to talk about that because it's all about being healthy, not only physically, but because if you've ever spent any time with Dr. Lyons, you know, it's about that spiritual health as well. So we're going to talk about early detection and that his sister, Dr. Lyons, Tanya, is a 13-year survivor. So welcome. Just say hello and get us started.
Oh, awesome. Hello, everyone. Glad to be with you all on today. And like Loretta said, we're going to talk about some great things today. First of all, starting off with COVID boosters. Of course, COVID, thank God, is coming down some. It's not as prevalent and pervasive as it once was this time last year, but it's still out there and it's still moving to more of an endemic phase where it's going to kind of be around with us. And we still want to be protected from it. So now's the time to go out and get your bivalent booster that's different than the booster that was offered earlier this year and this summer. As of September, we started offering the bivalent booster, and it's much different than the other booster and more effective.
And it lasts longer. Is that what I heard you say before? Does that booster last longer?
Right. And not only does it last longer, it's effective against, we call it bivalent because it's effective against both the original coronavirus as well as two of the Omicron variants of the coronavirus. So it's active against the BA4 and BA5, which were pretty much causing the most disease over the last few months in the country. So we really want you to get the bivalent booster because you'll be more protected.
Oh, Lord knows we need more protection. And I'm just so happy. We're not out of the woods yet, but we've kind of shifted somewhat because is it because of more people are getting the boosters and vaccinations, or we're just being more aware of keeping our distance still, using hand sanitizer, keeping our hands clean? Is it a combination of that? What do you think, Dr. Lyons?
You're exactly right, Loretta. It's a combination of all those things. One, the virus has continued to change, and the variants that are active now, they aren't as severe as the original virus and the Delta variant that had so many people sick and dying last year around this time. But what we do have is still a virus that's out there that still can make you sick. And it can be very deadly for some folks, especially if you're immunocompromised in any way or you're older. Any of those types of things, pregnant women, all those types of things would make you more susceptible to severe disease. So we still want you to get vaccinated, and also get boosters if you've already been vaccinated. But it's a combination of all that. People are more vigilant now. They're using all the precautions, or some are still using the precautions. We know we have friends in stores. We can all tell that they don't do any of that anymore. But we want to try to stay as safe as possible, especially during these months, because we're about to head back to the indoor months. We really don't want to see any spikes in the coronavirus and even in flu, because a lot of the coronavirus precautions also protected us against flu last year.
Oh, okay. So that's why I wanted to go next with this, since we talked about COVID boosters and the shift, right, from the pandemic to endemic. So flu. And how do you know if you have one or the other without a test?
You don't. It's hard to tell because they have a lot of the same symptoms. I've had patients this week who had the flu and thought they had COVID, and had COVID and thought they had the flu. I've seen it both ways over the last week or two. So you really don't until you actually get a test. And thank God we have plenty of testing out there. You can go to a local pharmacy, your doctor's office, anywhere pretty much, and get a test to find out which one you have. And if you do have, say, the coronavirus, the only thing that we ask is that you go ahead and continue to do the same quarantine and isolation things that we said before. You know, stay away from everybody for about 5 days. And if you test negative, make that a 10-day. If you test negative, you can go back around everybody in about 10 days. And if you test positive, let's extend it until you test negative. And then you can go back around everyone. And then if you want to get your booster after that or vaccinated after that, let's wait. At least they're suggesting 90 days. But if you are at high risk for contracting it again, or you have loved ones who may be in a high risk category, like you stay with some seniors, then you may want to go ahead and get vaccinated even sooner than waiting the 90 days if you've already had coronavirus.
Oh, I agree with that. And I'm not even a medical professional, but that sounds like common sense to me if you're around the elderly and even young children. So are you seeing an increase in children being vaccinated against COVID? Or are people still
There has been an increase, especially in those ages above 6 years old. We still haven't seen a huge surge in those that are less than 5 or 4, but that 5, 6 year old age group and up, they have seen an increase in those children being vaccinated. A lot of parents are bringing their children in to get vaccinated. Parents are getting their booster, and they're so happy that there's an actual vaccination for the children, as well as boosters for that age group as well.
Yeah. And again, I like to tell people, because they'll see me out and ask me, Loretta, why are you pushing the COVID vaccinations? I'm not pushing anything but this show, right? But if people want information so that they can make an informed decision, then that's my job as a TV personality host to make sure that that information is out there. I have friends who chose not to get the vaccination. I chose to get the vaccination. I have family members who chose not to, or in those who chose to. It is a decision that you make, but I want you to make the best decision that's informed, that you can make for your health. So I want to kind of move on because I only have so much time with him. So if you have questions, you better send them in early. I see people are watching, and thank you for the hearts and thank you for the likes and the thumbs up. But we got to talk more about our medical health. So before we talk about breast cancer awareness, can we just go and do one of the things I think you also are super, super amazing at, and that's that spiritualness. You know, keeping us grounded and focused, because we all are going through something. We don't have all the answers, but we do know where to go for those answers. So what keeps you up all the time? Because I love your post, your, what are you calling your 60 seconds?
God in 30 seconds.
God in 30 seconds.
And then breaking bread on Thursdays. I'll give you a sneak peek into tomorrow's message. You know, it goes along with kind of what we're talking about now. Everybody that's riding with you doesn't know how to steer. And, you know, God tells us to seek wise counsel and godly counsel. And if you do that, then not only your health, but your life will be in a much better state. So we have to be careful where we get information from. Again, everybody that's with you and in the car with you doesn't know how to drive. They don't know how to steer, and they really can't steer from that side of the car anyway. So you may want to go ahead and get somebody with the right perspective, and that'll help you in your life and your movement forward in life.
Because I know there are countless studies. I can't really cite one right now, but I know I read countless times. I can't even tell you how people really agree, scientists and doctors and spiritual people like me agree that it's about frame of mind too in your healing. Can you talk about that as I think this will really transition us into our next topic.
Oh, yes. I'm just going to tell you that's a perfect segue into breast cancer. And I'll tell you, it really does. State of mind, everything from decreasing the stress level that you're at as you're going through a situation that affects your body. If you are depressed, that affects your body, not only your mind, but your body. Your soul is a combination of your mind, emotions, and your will. And that's very important because those three things affect your body, your physicality, how you walk through this life. So if you are depressed, or better yet, if someone is so negative around you and they're sulking around you because, say, you're going through breast cancer or you're going through some other malady, then that's going to bring you down. And that negativity can really make you even more ill or keep you from healing as fast as you should, because it triggers so many different hormones in your body, cortisol and so many other things that are stress hormones that are not good for you at high levels, especially when you're going through.
Exactly, because it inhibits the release of the endorphins, which are the happy things that we want released into our body, as opposed to the cortisol. Because I know about everybody's seen those commercial cortisol, belly fat. That's all you hear, right? So to counteract that, you got to be happy and stay positive, because it releases those friendly, nice endorphins, right? And that's no matter what you're going through, even financially, it'll help you, right? It won't get your bill paid, but it'll give you a better frame of mind so it doesn't lead to those medical issues. So everybody knows that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I love that we do this once a month, once a year, but we need this every year, as we do for prostate cancer and ovarian cancer and colon cancer too. And Dr. Lyons is going to do his best periodically to come on the show and keep us abreast of new technologies, new medicine. But right now, can we just talk about and just cheer on and celebrate, first of all, breast cancer survivors. And we're going to pause and pray for those who were overcome by breast cancer. So I want to pause and then let you come back, and we're going to celebrate. We're going to pause just for a moment just to celebrate those who've gone on.
Yes.
Yeah, I celebrate them because I'm sure they all gave a good fight, and I know their families miss them, but they know they're not suffering anymore. So we're gonna just levy this into a positive story about breast cancer, and someone personal. So we know this is a true story. I know his sister as well, and she is shouting from the mountaintops her success in beating breast cancer continuously.
Yes. I'm so just thankful that Tanya is still with us. She actually was able to detect her breast cancer early by doing a simple breast exam in the shower. She does it every day. Like I was there, but she told me she does it every day in the shower. And something so simple was able to detect her breast cancer early enough to where she could immediately start getting treatment. And now she's a 13-year survivor. Her story was that she was in the shower one day, and she was doing her morning breast exam, and she just felt a small lump. And it's just something that she noticed different. And that's one of the things that I always tell patients, is that if you're aware of your body, you notice the small changes. And something as simple as being able to be in that shower and feel that there was just a little something different. She was able to go ahead and speak with her doctor. They went ahead and got a mammogram, looked at everything, and she was actually already in stage 2 cancer with intraductal carcinoma. So and that is a breast cancer of the milk ducts in your breast. So they were able to catch it early enough, start chemo. She went through the chemo. It was very tough, but she battled through it, and she was a champion through it. And I'm telling you, she's truly an example that surviving is beautiful, because my sister's an awesome woman, but she's also a beautiful woman. And she came through, and she's 13 years surviving.
Yeah, I salute her and all her sisters, our sisters that are also survivors. And so don't be afraid, because the worst thing you can do is not go get anything done. And I know for me, I would want to know, because I want to increase my chances of surviving and being successful and thrive, right? But if we let it go too long, and even if it goes to stage 4, I've heard people with stage 4 cancer survive. Yeah. So it's all about, your mental attitude, great professional care, right? And then doing what the doctors advise you to do. And like you said, Dr. Lyons, know your body. That's men and women. We need to know our bodies and respond to that.
Yes, because men are at risk for breast cancer as well as other cancers. We have to know our bodies. We have to get this. All goes back to preventive care. I spoke with some folks today about preventive care and how absent it is in our community, both the Black, Hispanic, and Native American communities. We will wait way too long before we address what we notice has gone wrong. And so we have to make sure, especially with cancer, breast cancer, that we are addressing it as soon as possible. Women, is imperative that if you're over 50 years old, you go at least every 2 years to get a mammogram. If you have a family history of breast cancer, you need to start at 40, going annually to get a mammogram to screen for breast cancer. You know, one of the things that we don't do a lot now is, and we used to, is I'm 50 years old. So, you know, we used to sit around and talk more. So you would hear that Aunt so-and-so or grandma had breast cancer, or so-and-so got sick and had diabetes or hypertension. Well, if you don't get that family history and start telling those stories about the good and the bad, then you kind of miss out on some things that would have you being screened early, because that's a 10-year gap. So if I don't know, if I'm a female and I don't know that my grandmother had breast cancer and I wait to 50, I've missed 10 years of screening. And so when I show up at 50 for my first mammogram, that could be already a stage of cancer that we could have caught a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, we could talk on and on. And the sad thing, I know you got to go, but it's still sad that there is a huge disparity in the number of women of color who die from breast cancer still in 2022. And it boggles my mind, but you just said one of the key reasons is not, of course, they say, you know, access to medical care, depending on, you know, some of the rural regions or places where there are not a lot of health facilities. But the fact that we don't have the conversations, number one, and number two, we won't go to the doctor. We put everybody before us. And so that when you see the numbers of how many women versus white women and women of color who die from birth, it will blow your mind. And still it happens.
Yes. And then it all goes back to that. We just really have to start taking the time to take care. You know, black men, black women, black men are actually worse than black women. We really put off going to the doctor. We don't want to go get the prostate exam. We don't want to go and get the colonoscopy. And I'm a living witness to going to get a colonoscopy early can be a blessing and save your life. I went early because my ex-brother-in-law had gone early and they found polyps in him for a colonoscopy. And so I said, you know, when I turn 45, I'm gonna go ahead and go early too. Even though it was, you know, supposed to wait till you're 50, I went at 45, they found 3 polyps. They were able to get them and they were benign. But had I waited until 50, that would have been 5 years that those 3 polyps would have been growing. And then who knows what they would have been. So when I went back for my next one, because then you go every 3 years after that, and we actually had to wait until this year to go because of COVID. So when I went this year, they actually found 2 more. So they were able to get those. You have to go. You go, and then it helps alleviate the problem or catches the problem early enough to where there's something that can be done about it, and then you're still here. A key to longevity is actually checking yourself out.
I love how you also said take time to take care.
Yes.
I need that on a t-shirt. I need that on a t-shirt. I know you have to go, and we are going to segue this into something else. And ShotRx, located here in beautiful Memphis, Tennessee, but they're mobile, so they can come to any town, any city if you need them. They do not only immunizations and COVID testing and flu tests and boosters and vaccinations. They also do my favorite thing, and that's a B12. And my second favorite thing is they have an on-staff nurse practitioner. So they're a one-stop for all your health needs. So Dr. Lyons, thank you so much for being here. And you know you got to come back next month as well.
All right, I'll be here.
So we're going to pause just for a moment and we'll be right back. So we're going to play this and then we'll be right back. Thank you all for watching. Be right back.